What's going on, Tackle Warehouse fans? Welcome back to this week's episode of What's New at TW. My name's Rich. I'm going to take you through some awesome new products that we have here. The spawn's kind of winding down. We're coming into some great time of the year to fish, the summer months. These products are going to be absolute top performers on your local bodies of water in the upcoming months. Would highly recommend checking them out. Let's get into it. Starting off, we got the NGX series rods from Level Fishing. These were designed in collaboration with pro angler Hank Cherry, and it has a really nice Japanese Toray carbon fiber blank, Fuji Alkanite guides, and a carbon fiber reel seat and reel clamp, which is going to give you a really nice connection when you're fighting a fish or ripping something through cover. EVA foam handle and just a really light rod and a super versatile rod too. I think there's like 18 models spanning across spinning, casting, and crankbaits. So definitely go ahead and check out the NGX series by Level Fishing Rods. All right, up next from Battlestar. So this is the 5-inch rib bait. So this is actually designed for surf fishing in California. So one cool thing about this bait is it's actually injected with squid oil. So it's gonna have a really nice scent cloud in the water as soon as it hits the water. Guys are keel weight rigging this with a wide gap hook and dragging it around kelp beds and cover, and they're targeting like calico bass, halibut, anything in the surf that might be feeding on bait fish. But you can also apply this thing to the freshwater as well. Obviously rig it up on an A-rig, throw it on the back of a swim jig or a chatterbait, slow roll it around some cover, and you're gonna see some great results. Ribbed body, so you're gonna have a ton of action and a really nice paddle tail that's just gonna give you an excellent wobble in the water. Kind of get on a similar note, so this was actually designed to pair with that bait. This is the extra long shank swim bait hook by Battlestar. So this is one of the coolest keel weighted hooks I think I've ever seen. It has a massive lead. This is a 1/2 ounce lead, and you have a nice screw lock up here to really lock that bait in place. What this was designed to do is allow surf anglers to absolutely bomb paddle tail swim baits in the surf, reaching pockets that you normally wouldn't be able to with other keel weighted baits. It comes in the 3/4 ounce size. This is a 5/0 hook, and like I said, it's meant to pair perfectly with that 5-inch rib bait. There's a perfect little slot in there that you'll be able to fit that hook up in perfectly, and when a big halibut, striper, white sea bass bites, you're gonna have a really nice connect hook set with that fish, and you're gonna put them on the beach. Another new Battlestar lure, and this thing has really kind of came into the California surf fishing market and been a really top contender as far as what people choose when they're targeting striped bass, perch, and halibut. This is the Battlestar 115. So this is basically a slow floating jerk bait that you're gonna be able to make really long casts with. It's super aerodynamic, so you're gonna be able to hit really long pockets in the surf, and you're gonna wind it down to the zone, and when you pause it, it's gonna slowly rise back up. So that slow rise is kind of designed to trigger those bites when you're targeting those game fish. Also applicable to throwing in fresh, designed for saltwater. You have really nice corrosion resistant hooks on there, and you'll notice that bill integrates perfectly into the front head of the bait, so it's gonna get down quickly as soon as you initiate that retrieve, and it's definitely gonna find some big fish for you this summer. Kind of switching gears to some more bass focused stuff. So this is the Deps Slender Scat. So this is not a Cinco, and it's not a scat bait. This is the Slender Scat. So this is a really cool new bait from Deps. It has a little slot on the bottom for you to rig your 4/5/0 weedless hook, and this is a really high density plastic, and it's gonna get down quick. It's gonna have a really nice shimmy on the fall. You see some cool little, like not appendages, but almost grooves that are added to the front of the bait there, and then a nice thick pronounced tail that's gonna just have a really nice kind of flutter on the fall, a shimmy down to the fish, if you will. And you're gonna get a lot of bites from this thing. I can just feel the amount of salt in this plastic. It smells incredible. If I were a fish, I wouldn't be able to resist that. So that's the Deps Slender Scat. Up next from Scottsboro Tackle, this is the Sogeki Glide Bait. So this is a really cool kind of gizzard shad style glide bait by Scottsboro Tackle, designed to imitate that kind of mid-sized gizzard shad swimming around your local lakes. And if you know anything about bass fishing in the southern US, as you know that they love these gizzard shad, especially when they're kind of sized in this profile. So this is about a 2-ounce bait, and it has a really nice reinforced double jointed swinging joint system there that's gonna make a super wide gliding action when you snap it around. Really cool custom paint jobs available. It has an incredible kind of 3D scale iridescent look to it. And then kind of getting down into the hardware on this thing, you have these decoy quattro hooks, 50-pound split rings, super sticky sharp. I hung myself multiple times trying to get this thing out of the package. If a bass decides to sniff it, you're probably gonna hook it. Lastly, moving up to the head, you have really realistic 3D glass eyes, which is something that really stood out to me. They look super realistic compared to plastic eyes, and I imagine they'd last a whole lot longer too. So that's the Sogeki glide bait from Scottsboro Tackle. Great gizzard shad imitator to throw in the summer months up here. We know bass love feeding up on shad in the summer, so definitely check some of these out. Up next from Evergreen. So this is the all-new Combat Rat. And if you're a swim bait guy, there's absolutely no reason why you shouldn't have one of these things sitting in your tackle box. I mean, as far as rat lures go, I would say this is about as good as it gets here. I mean, starting with the joint. To me, the joint of a swim bait is one of the most important things, especially with these topwater rats. And it has this really unique dual-plated system on the inside that not only has it like the ability to adjust it top and down, but kind of side to side as well. So when on the retrieve, it's just gonna move a ton of water. As far as castability, this thing's built with a keel weight in the back here. So it's gonna be able to cut through the air super nicely. You're gonna make super long casts with it. Again, super sticky sharp hooks. And another cool thing about this bait is you have rotating hook hangers on the bottom. So when you hook a big 7-8 pound bass and it's coming up to the surface thrashing, these rotating hook hangers are gonna land that fish of a lifetime. It's gonna allow that fish to do whatever it wants, and it's gonna keep your hooks absolutely lodged in its mouth. It comes with these removable PVC plastic tails as well, which you can actually go ahead and pull it out, and it comes with 2 replacement tails as well, and they're very durable, so you don't have to worry about smaller fish ripping them off. You can quickly replace them, something that's really cool as well. And yeah, super realistic finish and just really durable plastic. You're gonna be able to bang this thing off woods, like throw it around docks, throw it around toolies, and you're gonna get some absolute giant bass coming out when they hear this thing squeaking around the surface. So that is the Combat Rat from Evergreen. Amazing rat style bait. Up next from Raid Japan, this is the Bukami Craw. So this is another high density soft plastic bait. And what's unique about this bait is this is kind of like a crawfish style creature bait, but it actually has 2 different densities. So the body of this bait is actually more dense than this kind of head section of the bait. This head section is going to be a little bit more buoyant. So this thing's designed to rig with a 4 or 5/0 hook. And when it falls, these appendages are just going to be quivering in the water. I can't really mimic it with my hands, but you can imagine all those appendages kind of floating around in the water on the descent. It's going to catch the attention of a lot of fish, not to mention these appendages on the side there. I mean, I'm holding it still and you can see how much they're moving. So pin a Texas rig on here and pitch it around cover. This thing is a really unique creature style craw bait. You could even throw it on the back of a trailer for like a flipping jig or something like that. Really designed to be fished alone though. Definitely going to catch some big fish laid up in cover this summer. That is the Bukami Craw by Raid Japan. Up next from Mustad. So these are the Infiltrator keel weighted hooks. So not only do they make these just in the Infiltrator unweighted option, but you have the infiltrated weighted and then the weighted bladed hook here. So they're made with Mustad's new Alpha Point technology. Really amazing hook finish that's not only going to be super corrosion resistant, but just have amazing penetrating power as well. One cool thing about these hooks that I've actually never seen before on these like swim bait style hooks is how big that gap is. I mean, you talk about, this is like an extra wide gap. I believe they call it a tack bend is what they're labeling this as. So a lot of these bigger swim baits that have really wide bodies or tall, this hook is going to be able to accommodate those larger body baits a lot easier than an extra wide gap hook. And when a fish bites down, it's just going to allow that bait to push a lot down farther on the hook on that gap right there, and it's going to expose a lot more of the hook. So you're going to be able to hook up a lot more on those weedless bites that you're getting. So you're going to pair this thing with, you know, your 4, 5, 6 inch baits, really nice screw lock up front. And also a cool thing about these Infiltrator bladed hooks, unweighted, keel weighted, is they have this nice skinny weight up front. And what that's going to do is actually reduce the wobble. A lot of these keel-weighted hooks kind of have the weight set back more on the shank of the hook, and it kind of adds a wobble to it. So if you're trying to kind of keep your bait more upright and just swimming straight, this would be a great contender. That slim weight up front really is going to help your bait stay upright, kind of slow down the wobble a little bit, but really allow you to fish that thing effectively through cover. Not to mention that bladed option as well is just going to add a ton of flash, pairing it with your favorite paddle tail swim baits. So those are the Infiltrator blade. This is the infiltrated bladed hook. That is the Infiltrator weighted hook by Mustad. Up next from Jewel Tackle, this is the Pee-wee Flippin' Jig. So this is a 7/16 ounce finesse flippin' jig that is actually designed off Jewel's highly acclaimed micro football jig. Kind of a similar idea here, but more designed for anglers who are trying to downsize their approach when they're flipping cover. Really kind of like big profile, powder coated head, but then you have a really just like kind of short, stocky, robust, sickle-shaped hook right there with a nice conical built-in plastic keeper. And that's going to allow you to really downsize and kind of pair whatever small 2.5 inch trailer with it, pick apart cover. It's got a really nice skirt on here, really thin material, so it's going to have a lot of movement in the water. Really high quality weed guard on this thing. And also it comes in a really convenient pack of 2, so you get, your skirt torn up on one, you have another one ready to go to throw back in to the bush or whatever you're catching fish out of. So that is the Pee-wee HD Flippin' Jig by Jewel Tackle. Up next, this is the new Missile Baits Hoverhead. So this was actually designed in collaboration with John Cruz, and this is Missile Baits Hoverhead, and this is designed to basically shove inside your fluke style bait or whatever paddle tail you might be fishing. A lot of these guys hover strolling are using their live sonar these days to really watch what the bait's doing and how the fish react to it. One really cool thing about this, not only do you have the 90-degree line tie and kind of a built-in plastic keeper thanks to that missile bait style lead, is you have another hole right in the middle of that kind of top groove on the lead that's going to let you put a toothpick in it or insert your own wire fiber, your own wire weed guard. So basically, after you'd rig it, after you shove it in your plastic, you would put a toothpick through it to really lock that plastic in there a little bit more, cut off the ends, or you could put a wire through it and fold it up and almost like have a built-in weed guard. So really cool little customization option there if you opt to kind of fish this around cover. So that is the Missile Baits Hover Jig Head. All right, y'all, last but not least, this is the Buckeye Lures Thump Flippin' Jig. So this was designed in collaboration with Fletcher Shryock, really good cover fishing guy. And starting off with the nose of this bait is you have a built-in line tied directly to the jig head. So that's going to come through cover a lot easier. It's going to prevent your knot from slipping up and down and really give that direct connection that a lot of cover fishermen seek with this style flipping jig. Another cool thing about this bait is it has a nice built-in plastic keeper there, kind of a barbed style design, so it's going to really lock in your plastic there, and you'll notice that it is a super robust hook. It's really going to be able to come through cover well with that weed guard. When a fish bites down, it's going to go absolutely nowhere. There's no way in heck that even a 12, 13 pound bass is going to be bending out that hook. So throw this into the thick, nasty stuff this summer. This is the Thump Flippin' Jig by Buckeye Lures. That's going to do it for this week's episode of What's New at TW. If you liked any of the products that you saw in the video, go ahead and drop a comment. Let us know what you're going to pick up. If you want to shop on the website, you can find all this stuff available at tacklewarehouse.com, and we'll catch you next time.